It's festival season. Festival season is fast approaching. I cannot believe I'm in my 3rd year of doing a festival essentials video. But last year I went to download and there was a few things that I picked up that I've never done before that I was like, right, okay, I need to make sure that I take a mental note and let everyone know. So there is also going to be some things in this video that I spoke about in the last video that I hadn't taken before, and I'm going to let you know whether I think they were good, worth it, so on and so forth. So let's get into it. Please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. I really do appreciate it, but let's get into the video. Okay, so essential number 1 is something I took by fluke last year, and that is slippers. I promise you, take some slippers for around the campsite. So I took these specific ones. They're like a slider with a fuzzy slipper material and a little bit of padding. Now, the reason why I ended up taking them was just by sheer fluke. My friend lives in the middle of nowhere and she has like that sort of indoor-outdoor house where you've got to be, you're going inside, outside. She has like an outdoor area and things. And so I always make sure I've got these in the boot for outside when I'm at her house. And then I have indoor slippers that I leave at her house. So these were just in the boot of my car, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to take them, throw them in the trolley, and I'll take them. And it was the best relief. The best thing I could have took, especially with the heat that we had last year. Bear in mind, it was 30 to 32 degrees. It was humid. It was hot. And yeah, these were the best thing, the best relief for just walking around the campsite, going to get food, going to get water, going to the toilet. And I'm not saying take your best slippers, don't take like your Ugg slippers or whatever slippers you've got. Just take your old cheap slippers if you can. If you've got ones like this, then perfect. The reason why I do recommend these sort of ones is because of the heat. They're not too hot. So you're still getting that like coolness because they're not closed, but you're still getting that like comfort of slippers. With that being said, essential number 2, Crocs. Like, I've tried my hardest to not be a part of the Croc clan. Like, I really have. I have tried to avoid it like the plague. But when I was at download last year and I was walking around and my feet were in pieces, and I had deliberately bought my boots because of how comfy they were. They were like a welly, but I bought ankle ones and I bought like higher ones. In the end, I'd had to swap to the higher legged ones because they were a bit more baggier. I could not have worn Doc Martens or New Rocks or anything like that. There's just no way I'd have got them on. My feet would have been in absolute pieces if I'd have worn anything like that. I did have my walking boots, but being, I'm not gonna lie, a little bit vain, they didn't go with my outfit. So if I was to go back this year, which unfortunately I'm not, I've got too much going on in my life that I just can't make it to download this year, and I'm absolutely gutted because Bad Omens are playing and I really wanted them to play last year, but they never. So, but that's nonetheless. I would definitely think about buying like stylish walking boots and investing in a pair that goes with sort of the things I wear, because the walking boots really put me vanity on show because I was just like, no, I'm not putting them on. I would have worn my Crocs though. If I took a pair of Crocs, I would have worn them. I was stood in the queue at Co-op and in front of me was this girl and she had Crocs on, and I just went, can I ask you if they've been comfy? And she was like, I've left every other show at the tent. She was like, I can't put anything else on. My feet are too swollen, they're too sore, they're covered in blisters. And the Crocs had saved her day, like saved her whole festival. And I was like, I'm definitely bringing a pair next time. I'm bringing a pair. You could wear them around the tent and then wear your normal boots, like whatever you want. But I just love the fuzziness of my slippers. So yeah, essential number 2, I would definitely recommend some Crocs. Everyone seemed to have them on who had the right idea. And I clearly never. And I have had to join the Croc clan. Third essential, I want to talk about trolleys for a quick second because I have spoken about them in a previous video and I've gone on about the different levels. Obviously, everyone has a different amount of money to spend on certain things, but if you know you are going to go to festivals, if you've been to one before and you think, you know what, no, I go to one every single year, invest in a good trolley. I bought the one from Costco, which is very similar to this one, but it was £75. It was from Costco and it was the best thing ever. And I've taken granny trolleys my whole festival career. Like, I have been doing this 16 years now, and yeah, I've been going since I was 16. I'm 32, 33 in July, and I have always used granny trolleys since my friend put me onto them on my second festival. So I 100% used to push the granny trolley, but I don't think the granny trolley would have survived download last year. I don't think it would have made it to the tent. So essential 3 is definitely get yourself a good trolley. The thing is with the granny trolley, if you can get one with decent wheels, you'll be fine. But it's getting them wheels, and then by the time you spent all that money either changing the wheel and everything, you may as well just get a decent trolley. This one came with like a big jump rope thing that goes over the top, so it kept everything in, nothing fell out. It was so sturdy, like so sturdy. So yeah, 100% recommend this trolley. I've linked a few. I will leave my Amazon storefront down below, and although they're for links that you can buy off, if you don't want to buy from Amazon, it'll also just like be a good little like list of things to take. So I will link that down below, but a good trolley is essential. The one from Costco was amazing, but the ones from Amazon are also really good. My friend got hers from Amazon when she went to Glastonbury a couple of years ago, and she absolutely loves it. So I just wanted to hone in dead quick on trolleys. Festival essential number 4, and I don't think I'd ever go without it now, just because of how much money it saved and the actual convenience of it, and that is a stove. Now, I'm inserting a little video clip of me showing you the one I actually bought last year. Now, this is the Fire Dragon one. It's a military style stove, and I bought the little Fire Dragon alcohol tablet-y things, like gels that you put in it. And I did say to you, I'd practice it in the garden, and I think I'd done 3, if I remember right. It is all in this video. But honest to God, this stove is amazing. It is so good. If you want something that's just small and compact, and you want to be able to boil water for like pot noodles, or you can get like a toast thing that goes on the top, but I would maybe trial that before you go. But it was the best thing ever. Like, no words of a lie. I couldn't get over how good it was. And I also bought the shield that goes around it. What I would say to do is buy 2 shields, put the shield on the floor, pull some grass out. Unfortunately, you've got to be careful with the grass, so pull some grass out. I also put water down on where I was going to do it, just to dampen the ground and stop it like burning things. For when I go next time, I'm going to buy another shield. I would put the shield on the floor, and then put the shield around that, and then put the military stove in the middle. The heat will also help, because it'll be bouncing off the shield below as well as on the sides, and it stops the wind. It was great having the shield around it, but I felt like I needed something underneath it just to stop it from catching fire on the grass, and also just to give the heat a better level when it's rising, and just stop it from escaping, full stop really. But that stove is amazing. They retail at like $3.99. The bags of alcohol-y, I think that like an alcohol gel, you can use them as hand sanitizer and everything. They're insane. They are about £10. They weren't that much at all. Again, I will leave all the links down below. But honestly, I was so pleasantly surprised by the stove, and I did promise that I would let you all know what I thought about it, and if it would be something I'd take again. 100% recommend. The next essential I want to talk about is pre-ordering from the Co-op. Now, if you've watched my last video, you know I was asking if anyone had pre-ordered from the Co-op to let me know, because I wanted to pre-order some slimline tonic, because I drink gin and tonic, and I was like, I don't want to carry all the bottles and things. And finally, a week before the festival was due to open, it sent the link out to say pre-order, and I was able to pre-order tonic, orange juice, bread, crisps, ice. I got ice for the box. I think that was it, because I didn't really need much else. I'm not someone who's going to sit around the camp and eat like sweets and chocolate and things like that. That's just not what I end up wanting to eat. Once I'm drinking, I don't really eat, so I didn't need too many snackies. I needed more liquids. That's what I needed. I also looked on there as well to see if you can buy bottles of spirit, and you cannot buy spirit on the Co-op order. I don't know if you can in the shop, but you definitely can't on the pre-order. It's got to be them mixer cans, so where they're pre-made in a can, and I don't like them, so I ended up pre-ordering all that, and I've done the pickup for the Thursday. If you're going to do this, I highly recommend that you do the pickup either very late at night or the next day, just in case you don't know what time you're going to get into the festival. By the time you set up, you don't want to be like getting there and then all of a sudden it's like, you put the tent up, I'm going to have to run the Co-op. So just pre-order it for the next day. I did it for I think like 9 in the morning or 10 in the morning the next day. I went straight to the Co-op. There was no queue. There was a queue to get in the Co-op, which was quite big but moves really fast. I went straight to the little stand. He went and got my bag, and I was gone. Like, it was the best thing I've ever done. Now, obviously, if I hadn't have done that, I would have been able to get pretty much everything in the Co-op, I think. I'm not too sure about tonic. I did have a little look on the last day when I went in, but there was none on the shelf. So I don't know whether that was just because it was the last day or because they don't sell tonic. So if you are someone who drinks tonic and you want it for when you're at the festival and you don't want to carry it from the car, then I do recommend pre-ordering it from the co-op. Okay, so this next essential, leading on, we're going to stick with like food and drink. This next essential is going to be very specific. You cannot buy Coca-Cola for love nor money. And I'm saying the full title because you could probably buy other variations of what I'm saying easier than you can a Coca-Cola. Because you cannot, if it says Pepsi on the advertisement anywhere, you are not able to get Coke. You just can't. You can't get it anywhere. And it's so frustrating. And I, luckily enough, took my own crate of Coca-Cola because I was like, right, I'm going to take it just in case, because that is what I like to drink the next morning. If I've been drinking the day before, that is what I want, an ice cold Coke. And honestly, it was the best thing I could have done was take that crate, because I'd have been fuming the whole weekend if I couldn't get anything, because I don't drink Tango. Don't get me wrong, I would drink Fanta the next morning, but there was no Fanta. I don't know if there was in the co-op, but there definitely wasn't. I actually think I might have tried to pre-order Coca-Cola and I couldn't get it. I've got a funny feeling, you know, that I tried and it wasn't there. And so that's why I took my own crate. Either way, if you are a Coke drinker, take it home. Don't expect it to be at the festival, because it won't be. Pepsi is the only thing on offer, both in the shop, I'm pretty sure, and 100% sure in the arena, because I walked around trying to find someone that had Coke and no one did. So yeah, just to let you know, take Coca-Cola. This next essential, I cannot believe I've not mentioned in my previous videos, and I can't believe I forgot it this year, and that is a tent peg remover. You need to make sure you've got a peg remover. Luckily enough, the lovely family next to me, they had one and they lent me it, and honestly, the ground was so hard that you needed to be able to put your peg in, maybe move it around a little bit and so on and so forth, and I didn't bring my tent peg remover. I normally just use, if I don't have one, a peg, but the ground was that hard, I couldn't get it out. You needed the remover. So sorry, I have to keep stopping the video because I keep sneezing. My hay fever is on another level at the minute. Saying off, make sure you've got your tent peg remover. Next up, I want to talk about cool boxes. So last year was the first year I ever took a cool box, because I've took cool bags, but I've never taken a cool box. And I always just feel like you don't need them. But my God, did we last year. With that heat, I don't think I'd go without one now. I don't think I'd be able to cope without a cool box with all my stuff in it. Don't get me wrong, I didn't put my mixer. I still stood by that rule. Do not put your spirit in your cool box. Keep them separately. Put your mixers in, but put your spirits in different places in your tent. I have had ale robbed a few times, so always make sure that you put your spirit in places that you maybe won't find it, because one, people might think, oh my God, it's just alcohol, but that's not my point. My point is, if you can't get it again, you can't have it. Do you know what I mean? So hide your spirit, but just put your mixers in your cool box. Like, who cares about a mix? If it goes missing, you can go buy another one, unless it's full fat Coke, then you can't. But yeah, just put those sorts of things in your cool box. But it was the best thing ever, being able to go get ice, put in the cool box. I 100% recommend cool box. I doubled mine up as a vanity, so I was able to put like my mirror on there and get ready, and it was just really, really handy. But 100% couldn't have lived without it last year. It was just far too hot. I have a separate video on festival hygiene, and I talk about all the different ways that you can keep clean. Now, you can do things like a baby wipe shower, or you can do the main one that I do, which is a bucket wash with a flannel, and I wash my whole body from head to toe in the living room part of my tent. Or you can go and get a refresh and retreat pass, or you can use the general shower. Now, I wanted to quickly talk about the refresh and retreat. I didn't buy it last year. I've done it in the past. I had it in 2018. My friend bought me it for a Christmas present, and it was one of the best gifts ever because it was amazing. But I do not recommend that refresh and retreat anymore. They have got greedy. They oversold the tickets. My mate who I bumped into, she'd been in the queue for like 3 hours getting a shower, and I was like, absolutely not. For you to step out into dust, I was like, no, sorry. There was absolutely no point. It was miles away from where I was camping, and I mean absolutely miles away. The general showers were also miles away, so I ended up doing bucket wash showers the whole time. Normally at downloads, I do just use their general showers, but because of the heat and because of the dust, it was pointless me going all that way to walk all the way back in that heat, because I was roasting the minute you stepped outside. So I thought, you know what, now I'll just do the bucket wash. And a bucket wash worked an absolute treat. You can step into it. If you get the right bucket, if you get a square collapsible bucket like this, you can stand in that bucket and then have another bucket for you to use as the water, and then that can just trickle into that bucket. I just put a towel down, stood on the towel, and any excess I just got with a sponge. It was that hot, the water was dry like that on the floor, so my temp was perfectly fine, but the bucket wash worked wonders. I was really, really clean. I didn't have to worry about walking to the other side of the festival, didn't have to worry about standing in a queue, and it was the best thing. But going forward, I think I would 100% get a shower bag. Now, you can obviously get the shower tents to match them, but I think the shower tents are non-essential if you've got a tent that you can stand up in the living room, because it's just added weight that you've got to carry. If there's a few, yeah, then 100% get the tent as well. But I think the bag would have just been a little bit easier for me, especially with last year's heat. You could have left that in the heat for an hour and it would have been warm. You would have had no problem doing it. Or you can pre-make your water mixture and then pour that into the bag and use it straight away. But I literally would have just been able to clean my back easier, rinse my skin a little bit easier. It's also handy if you're wanting to wash your hair. Lads in particular, you can use the shower bag to wash your hair. But I'd 100% say that I would go and get a shower bag now. They weigh not and they're not that expensive, and they can just be an added extra for me showering. So yeah, I think going forward, I will be taking a shower bag. Next essential is going to be earplugs. Now, I don't mean earplugs for sleeping in your tent, which you 100% need, but I mean these sorts of plugs. So these are loop earplugs, especially when you're listening to loud music all weekend. I wish I'd had these last year. I got these for Christmas this year, and I think they're an absolute godsend. If you don't know already, I do have a full review on these on a separate video, and I'll leave the link down below. But these are fab. They're so, so good. I just struggle to get them out the packaging. You can get them in any colour that you want, and you just pop them in and your ears are going to be saved all weekend. It's just going to stop you having to have that ringing in your ears for 5 days. So I couldn't recommend enough to take something like a loop earplugs if you're going to any festivals this year. It's just to protect your ears. Like, there's no point in not protecting them. A flask like this is 100% an essential. I just think it was so annoying having lukewarm drinks. Like, I took one of these and I think that wasn't good enough. I would now take something like this so that it's fully closed. It's sealed to stay cold. Like, it was so hard to get a nice cold drink. And if you are someone who likes ice cold water and you don't want to knock it all back, or maybe you don't drink water like that, some people can't knock water back, they don't like it, then I do recommend having a flask, pour the ice cold one into it, and then just keep hold of it. You couldn't get a really cold drink, and it was really, really hard. If you're like me who likes cold drinks, this wasn't even good enough. Like, it just wasn't. So I 100% recommend getting something like this. Now, I actually have one of these, and this is a beast. So if you still want something that's like a cup, then I do recommend this one. They are a little bit pricey. They're about £24, but they are amazing. They work. They keep everything really, really hot or really, really cold. But with the water situation last year, I do just recommend having some form of bottle. I took, in the end, a 1.5 plastic bottle with me into the arena so that I could then, once that was filled, it was 1.5 litres, didn't have to go back. Luckily enough, when I bumped into my friend, her boyfriend on the queue for the water, which he was there, I think, for about an hour getting water. Yeah, an hour. An hour for water. Bottle got very, very warm, very, very quick. But I can drink warm water. It doesn't bother me at all. But the flavour of that water wasn't very nice. So also, with that being said, with waters, take water from your campsite into the arena. They have got to let you in with it. And also, don't worry about your backpack size. Like, it was so frustrating last year. I'd made sure to take a really little backpack. And then when we got to the arena, people were taking in big, massive ones. And I do think they're going to check them anyway. So why can't you have a normal size backpack? Because if you want to be able to sit down, you've got to be able to put the blanket away. If you want to have a jacket, and just, there was a lot of things that I do think the backpack situation is really, really frustrating. So take a spare, bigger one if you're not already using it to take stuff to the campsite with. I would just recommend having another option, because last year they were not bothered about backpack size. They were just checking what was in them. And 100%, I wish I took a bigger one. I would have been able to put like a blanket in there. I would have been able to carry more waters. And it was just, yeah, it was a bit annoying. If you smuggle alcohol into the arena, then you need these. These are breast milk bags. They are amazing. Do not fill them all the way up, because they may burst. Fill them up where there's still air in them. Now, this is where it gets complicated when it's hot, because you have less hiding places for your smuggled in alcohol. I ended up putting mine like in my boot and like in my bras and things, and it was dead handy. But these breast milk bags are the best way to get alcohol in. They're really easy to pour the alcohol in as well, so you're not having to fanny around trying to filter something in. They are really, really easy. So 100%, if you're going to smuggle alcohol in, you need breast milk bags. Breast is best when it comes to alcohol smuggling. My next tip is, if you're buying a brand new tent, not only practice putting it up for the purpose of practicing to put it up, but also I bought this tent and I've got no problem putting tents up. I can do them quite easy, but this had no give in it. So when you're putting the poles through first, they were so stiff. This lad helped me in the end when I was at the festival. I'd done it in the garden, and even my dad was like, you're going to struggle to get that in. It was just so tight. The material just wasn't given in any way, shape or form. So when I got there, I was like, I knew that was going to be the bit I was struggling with, and it was on the back pole, the very back one, where it was really, really tight. And then the lad on the family next to me, he was like, do you want me to give you the hand? Because I was like, there was the like little ping thing that you put the pole over, and my pole was there, and I just couldn't get the pole to bend enough to put it over. It doesn't help when you've got nails like this either. Like, they're just not practical at all. But I just needed that little extra, and he just pushed it for me from behind, and then that like pushed my arm in a little bit and we got it on. But just try and put it up, put it down, put it up, put it down as much as you possibly can, because that's going to help make that fabric a little bit more easier to give if it is really, really stiff fabric, which normally brand new tents are, but that was exceptionally strong last year. I've bought new tents loads of times and never had that issue, but that was just like, there was just no giving it whatsoever. And this tent is absolutely amazing. It's on offer again this year for £100, and it is fully worth it. I don't think you could fit any more than 2 people in it. I always say, if it's a 4-man, then only do 2 people. If it's an 8-man, you can do 4 people. You've got to be able to get your stuff in. You've got to have somewhere to store all your stuff as well. So I do recommend this tent if there's 2 of you. So if you're a couple, you'll be able to stand up in the living room. It is really good for getting ready in. It was really sturdy. It is just a really, really good tent. And the tent room is dark, so it's not like when you get in it it's all bright. It is dark, so you don't have to worry about it being really, really light for in the mornings. This is like beyond an essential. This is life. This was my absolute life getting ready in the morning, because I sat, and I'll see if I can insert the video now, I'm literally eating a piece of bread because I was too hot to even do anything, and I literally put my makeup on like this. That was how I was doing my makeup, getting ready. It was the best thing I had. It's actually quite good now because it's warm today as well. This was the best thing I took to the festival. I don't recommend hand fans because you use more energy doing this, so therefore you actually make yourself equally as hot. Whereas with this, you are stationary and that's doing all the work. So I do, honestly, if any festival is even going to be remotely warm this year, I just think take one of these. Let's talk gazebos. Now, I've filmed this one quite a few times now, and I'm just going to like nip it in the buds because I'm ranting and raving about last year's downloads and the camping situation. But I want to talk about the tip that I picked up from the couple next to me. Now, I've done gazebos in the past when I've been in a group, and you buy the gazebo, you plonk it in the middle and you put all the tents around it. That's dead normal at festivals, we know that. But what this couple done next to me is they had a tent like this, and it was a really good tent. The only obviously issue is it's small, you can't stand up in it, and they couldn't get ready. So they said they'd brought a gazebo, so they had their little tent, and then say that was their tent, the gazebo was there. Now, because of downloads overselling the festival last year, there was a lot. If you went, you will know, there was a lot of people just putting tents in the littlest of gaps, like to the point where some people couldn't even open their tent doors and have a stand outside. So it was ridiculous. So the woman came up to the eco woman that ran the campsite, came and asked the couple to move their gazebo, and they were like, no, our tent's this little, we can't stand up in it, we need to be able to get ready, we need to have some form of space where we can because of the heat. So what they said is we'll move it over. So where their tent was, say that's their tent, that was the back of their tent, that's the front of their tent, and it was shaped like this. They took the gazebo and they put it over the tent, And it actually ended up being a really, really good idea. And I said, I think I'm going to do that next time. They put the gazebo over the tent, and what it done was, it created more space so someone else could fit in. Not that that was the priority for a lot of us normally, but in this circumstance we had to do it. But she even said the tent was so much cooler because there was an extra bit of shade on it. Now, we had no shade. None of us had brought a gazebo. They were the only ones with the gazebo, and it wasn't a big one. It was just your bog standard gazebo. And we were all pulling our tent doors open, holding one piece of string onto another one. And it was hard work for starters. And also, we weren't a group together. We were all separate people, all going to see different people at different times. So at moments I was like, okay, I've got to shut my door. Someone else was like, I've got to shut my door. And it was a lot to have no shade. None, zilch, the whole time we were sitting at our tent. So going forward, I am 100% going to take a gazebo, and if I get told off, I will just put it over my tent and create a very small outdoor space, because although I could open the tent door to my tent, which was this one by the way, it doesn't come, now some tents come with poles for the tent door, so when you unzip it, you can pull it out and have poles, so you've got like a little mini gazebo. Obviously this was only £100, I didn't expect that to do that, but I wish it did. So going forward, I would either find poles for that tent door, or I would take a gazebo and have half over my tent and half at the front. Because if you take a tent like this, I even said to the couple next to me, I was like, I couldn't do that. I was like, I'm on my own and I could not be in that tent. And they were like, it is hard, but with the gazebo, they had space. So I do think a gazebo, they maybe need to start looking, the festivals maybe need to start thinking, okay, it is really, really hot. We're going to have to either allow for a certain amount of room with gazebos, or saying to people, listen, you can have your gazebo like this, but you can't have it in the middle with all your tents around it. I think most people would be quite content with that, just so long as there's shade. Like, do not camp near toilets, whatever you do, whether you think, oh, I'm going to be close to the toilet for in the morning, do not camp near the toilet. They stink. They absolutely stink. That's got to be your last resort. If you're that late to the festival, that's your last resort. Do not choose to sleep near a portaloo, because they absolutely freaking stink. And if it starts raining, you're the closest to the toilet water. You're the closest to all that. That's also getting wet. So yeah, no, don't go anywhere near the portaloos. Don't camp anywhere near them. I can't even believe there was people camping near them last year. I would have just point blank said no. I'd have been like, no, you can find me somewhere else. Like, I'm not camping there. Next essential tip, whatever you want to call it, is let's talk hair straighteners. So a lot of people, as I said, booked Refresh and Retreat, not just for the showers and toilets, but also for the straighteners and everything like that. Now, I took back in the day, back in like 2008, I used to take these Babyliss gas straighteners, and they worked. They weren't amazing. They definitely worked, but they weren't great. They weren't. But recently I've started to see these USB powered straighteners. Now, you can obviously take power banks with you for the whole weekend. All power bank stuff is in a different video from me, but I do think these straighteners would be really handy if you're someone who needs a straightener and you want something for at the festival, rather than having to pay for a Refresh and Retreat. And you can then also just use them all the time. These are USB powered ones, and I'm definitely thinking about getting a pair for when I'm at festivals, or just like in general for like traveling or whatever. These are really, really handy to have. I loved my gas ones back in the day. I would never pick to use them now. At the time, that was all you could have. So 100% think if you are looking and you're like, I really need straighteners, I need them, definitely buy these and see if they work on your hair. Everyone's hair is different. Some people's will straight like that and some people's won't. So you can get them, try them, and if they work, you can then take them to the festival and they'll work for you, rather than you buying a Refresh and Retreat. You can then sit and do it at the tent. I think that is pretty much everything for this video. These were just a few things that I learned last year, a few things that I forgot, or I don't know if I've mentioned in previous videos. So yeah, I hope this video is helping anyone going to any festival this summer, whether that be Download, Glastonbury, Leeds, whatever it is. I hope you're having an amazing time. If you need any more advice, if you've got any questions, do please leave it down below in the comments. I am going to do a beauty essential one, I think, this year as well, because I am terrible for overpacking my beauty essentials and I don't think you need to. I will also leave all the links down below for any other videos I've got. I've got 3, after this one, I've got 3 essential videos, and I also have a festival hygiene video, which is an amazing video for anyone who is struggling on what to actually take and they're thinking, do I need it, don't I need it? Everything is in those videos. So yeah, I hope these videos have helped you. I hope you have an amazing time at any festival, and I'll see you next time. Bye.